You're watching DD, the Defense Dynamics. I am Danveer Singh from New Delhi, connecting to our viewers from India and across the world. The Government of India has issued a request for proposal. It has initiated the process to acquire 156 India's light combat helicopters, the Prachand. They are commonly known as the LCH. In next half an hour, we will tell you what a combat helicopter is, what makes India's Prachand so unique, how will they enhance India's security, and why the Government of India's decision to acquire these 156 light combat helicopters at a cost of 50,000 crores from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited is a game changer. We will also tell you how this order will help in developing indigenous technologies and related ecosystem for India's futuristic needs. These new 156 combat helicopters at an estimated cost of rupees 50,000 crores will prove to be a major milestone in further boosting India's self-reliance or the Atmanirbharta. But before we get into the further details of this development, let's understand what combat helicopter or an attack helicopter is all about.
Attack helicopter or a combat helicopter is an armed helicopter. It has armored protection for its pilots against the enemy gunfire. Primary role of these helicopters is akin to that of a fighter aircraft. They are versatile and have amazing agility over the battlefield. With this capability and the kind of armament that they can carry, they wreak havoc in enemies' rank and file. Not only can they destroy enemy infantry, their vehicles and fortifications with utter speed, surprise, thus leaving the enemy under the spell of shock and awe. Combat helicopters carry deadly anti-tank missiles that can destroy the best of battle tanks on the battlefield. Due to their heavy armament, they are also sometimes referred as helicopter gunships. Attack helicopters use wide range of weapons from automatic weapons to machine guns to rockets and anti-tank missiles. Some attack helicopters are also capable of carrying air-to-air missiles like India's Prachand light combat helicopter. This they do for the purpose of self-defense against other helicopters and low-flying fighter aircrafts.
An attack helicopter is a battlefield asset. It operates in conjunction with the ground forces. As the ground forces are advancing or in defense, wherever they are, they operate with their overall plan. They provide close support to the ground forces. And because of their altitude, because they are able to fire the air-to-ground missile, air-to-air missiles, cannons, rockets, from a higher platform, they are able to engage the enemy at a much larger range.
Indian Armed Forces have been operating these Mi-35 helicopters for a very long time. And now in the inventory we have American Apache 64AH and also the latest Prachand LCH. But when we look at the history of these helicopters, Mi-35s did a commendable job during the Soviet-Afghan war, and these Apaches shot to fame during the Gulf Wars. When we look back at 1999 during India's short Kargil war, we realized that we did not have that requisite firepower in terms of an attack helicopter. We did have Mi-35, but they could not operate at those altitudes and at that ceiling. Americans had imposed sanctions on us after Pokhran. So buying any Western helicopter was a no-go. The only option left with us was to build your own attack helicopter option to meet our future needs, and that's what we did.
The requirement for having a very agile combat helicopter was felt immediately during after the Kargil war.
The true impetus and trigger for the development of Prachand LCH came from the 99 Kargil war. Which glaringly revealed that Indian forces lacked a suitable attack helicopter capable of operating unrestricted in high altitude terrain. The Russian origin Mi-35 attack helicopters held with the Indian Air Force were not capable of operating in such an environment. This was due to their lower service ceilings. An attempt was made to overcome this critical operational requirement by employing Mi-17 helicopters, suitably modified with rocket pods capable of firing rockets at those altitudes. These Mi-17 helicopters were extremely vulnerable to handheld surface-to-air missiles. This was due to their size and restricted maneuverability. When one of these Mi-17s was shot down, the entire gamut of employing them in an armored role was abandoned. It was with this background that government approved the development of light combat helicopter by the state-owned Hindustan Aeronautics Limited in year 2006.
Post-Kargil, in the Kargil Review Committee, we understood one major issue, which was a requirement for a high-altitude attack helicopter. The then two squadrons of attack helicopter that we had did not have the capability when fully loaded to fly beyond 6,000 to 7,000 feet of altitude. So that left a major gap during Kargil war.
After a go-ahead in 2006, it was on the 19th of March 2010 when the first LCH prototype performed its maiden flight. This followed an extensive test program involving a total of 4 prototypes. During this course of these tests, the Prachand gained distinction of being the first attack helicopter to land in Siachen over 6,500 meters. After completing all the operational trials and evaluation, it was on the 19th of November 2021 that the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, formally handed over the light combat helicopter to Indian Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal B.R. Chaudhary, thus clearing the way for a full-scale induction.
This indigenous development of the LCH or the Prachand has given us a tremendous boost to our capability in war fighting in this domain of helicopter combat operations.
As we speak, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has also manufactured 15 limited series production Prachand helicopters, 10 for the Indian Air Force and 5 for the Indian Army. Once the contract of 156 helicopters is signed, HAL will target to execute this order in next 5 to 6 years. Out of these 156 new helicopters, 90 will go to the Army and 66 to the Indian Air Force.
Prachand is the most unique attack helicopter in its category in the world. India's light combat helicopter outperforms its Chinese and the Turkish rivals by miles. India's arch rival, that is Pakistan on the western border, also operates the Chinese Z-10, and they have shown interest in acquiring the Turkish T-129s.
Prachand Light Combat Helicopter is a multi-role combat helicopter with unique capability to operate at a very high altitude. It is known to operate with ease at heights up to 6,500 meters. It is an advantage no other attack helicopter in the world can match today. The other two helicopters that come close in this category are Chinese Z-10 and the Turkish T-129AT-AK. They have a stated capability to operate at high altitudes. Even though their capability of operating in the mountains is confirmed, their claims to operate at extremely high altitudes is a suspect. The reason is their underpowered engines. The Z-10 is stated to operate max up to 6,300 meters.
The Chinese flies an attack helicopter called Z-10. It flew first in 2003. Once it is in fully load-out condition, from 21,000 feet, which is its service ceiling, the operational ceiling drops down as low as 6,000, 5,000 feet. With 6,000, 5,000 feet of operational ceiling, the Z-10 is a useless machine when it comes to the high-altitude warfare close to Fukche, Demchok in that area.
The T-129 has a service ceiling of 4,572 meters.
In any eventuality against Pakistan, we can expect Turkish 129 being employed in the plains of Rajasthan region, but in the high altitude region, this particular helicopter performs even worse than the Chinese Z-10.
On the other side, Prachand has proven its credentials by landing at Siachen at over 6,500 meters. This feat, Z-10 and T-129 are yet to prove.
Service ceiling of Z-10, which is the highest in other than Prachand, is 21,000 feet as they claim. But it is without any loadout. That means it is without any weapons or any missiles. Whereas the operational ceiling of Prachand is 21,600, which means the service ceiling is upwards of 30,000. And it has already landed in all battlefields, the highest battlefields in the world.
For better understanding, it is important for us to compare the technical parameters and the data of our LCH Prachand with that of its rivals, that is Z-10 and T-129. To do that, we have got a lot of data on the data wall, and this is our data wall. To my right, we have LCH Prachand, which has got empty weight of 2,250 kgs. To my left, in the center, we have Z-10, the Chinese make. It has got an empty weight of 5,100 kgs, and if we go far left on the data wall, the Turkish T-129 has a weight of 2,350 kgs. Maximum takeoff weight. Now we just saw what is the empty takeoff weight. Now the max takeoff weight. Now in this max takeoff weight, you will have the weight of the pilot, weight of the fuel and weight of the armament. So maximum takeoff weight, we can see for Prachand, it is 5,800 kgs. When it comes to Z-10, it is 7,000 kgs, and the Turkish helicopter version has got around 5,056 kgs. The payload that they can carry. So this max takeoff load and the empty takeoff load. So this gap is also filled by the armament. Now this armament is the payload. As far as Prachand is concerned, it can carry an armament of around 1,700 kgs. Z-10 can carry about 1,500 kgs, and The Turkish option, that is T129, can carry about 1200 kg. So you can make that difference very clearly that our version has got a better payload carrying capability. Now, as far as engines are concerned, India has got an indigenous engine which has been developed by the HAL. They are called Shakti engines. Chinese have their own WZ9 twin engines, and Turkey has two LHTEC engines. Now, it is said that the Turkish and the Chinese engines are a little underpowered. So that explains why they can carry a lesser payload and why they have got altitude restrictions as well. When we talk of the speed of these helicopters, we can see that Prachand can go at max speed of 280 kilometers, while the Chinese Z10 can attain 270 kilometers, and the Turkish helicopter can go at a speed of 281 kilometers. The range. The Turkish helicopter has a range of 537 kilometers. When it comes to the Chinese, that helicopter can go up to 800 kilometers, and our Prachand has got a range of 700 kilometers. Over here, the Chinese helicopter has a little advantage. Endurance is by and large the same. Prachand has got about 10 minutes more of endurance. And these 10 minutes definitely on the battlefield would make a lot of difference. Service ceiling is a very important aspect to understand the capability of the aircraft and especially the engine performance. As we look at the data, Prachand can go up to 6,500 meters. This height is more than 21,000 feet. That is our highest battlefield. Siachen Glacier is very much within the capability of this helicopter. The Chinese helicopter, they claim that it can reach up to 6,400 meters. Now, a point over here to note is that Indian Prachand helicopter can also take its payload. The armament payload can be carried right up to this level of height, while the Chinese, it is said that it is not capable of carrying the weapons load at this height. As far as the Turkish helicopter is concerned, which is designed to fight on the NATO battlefield, can reach up to 6,000 meters. Having seen the comparison between the three helicopters, let's summarize with whole data in one go. So now the payload carrying capacity, we can see we have already discussed. Engine performance, what performance our engine gives, probably the other two engines are not capable of. Range, in any case, Indian helicopters range is fairly good enough, but Chinese have an upper hand. Endurance, as we realize, is by and large the same. The rate of climb, now this is very important, rate of climb. Rate of climb of India's Prachand is 12 meters per second, while the rate of climb of the Chinese is just 10 meters, and that of the Turkish helicopter is 11.3 meters. So this particular aspect of our helicopter actually outperforms these, and this is important in a combat situation. I'll just try to explain what it means. When you have got a higher rate of climb, that means you can dodge enemy's fire, you can dodge an chasing enemy aircraft, you can dodge enemy's incoming heat-seeking missiles by firing flares and just pulling off. So your engine performance is good, your service ceiling is good, you can go and climb at a very high rate to a very greater height. So this is what it means, and this is what makes that difference on the battlefield that we are looking at. Now it is very important to understand the capabilities, comparative capabilities of the aircraft within our inventory. Now, as we are aware that we have Apache AH-64E and now Prachand LCH. So it is important to compare the two aircrafts on their technical parameters. As we can see on the data wall, we have the empty weight configuration. For Prachand, it is 2,250 kgs, while that of the Apache is 5,165 kgs. the amount of fuel they can carry, the armament they can carry, and maximum weight that they can carry. In that configuration, the Apache is at 10,433 kgs and Prachand is 5,800 kgs. Now, maximum speed that these helicopters can attain, Apache goes at a speed of max speed of 293 kilometers per hour, and our Prachand can reach up to 280 kilometers. The range is a very interesting aspect. Apache go up to 476 kilometers while Prachand can go up to 700 kilometers. Now, when we talk of service ceiling, now this is very important, and let's understand both these helicopters are made for different requirements. So let's first check what is the service ceiling. As far as Apache is concerned, it's way below at 6,100 meters, and of Prachand, as we can see and we have spoken earlier as well, it is 6,500 meters. Now let's understand why it is so. Apache has been designed to operate on the NATO battlefield. It has also operated in the deserts of Iraq and in Afghanistan, and it was never designed to operate at those heights at which India wants the attack helicopters to operate. So our version of attack helicopter, that is combat helicopter Prachand, has got that advantage in terms of service ceiling because we designed it for our requirement, and it is 6,500 meters, meaning that it can easily operate with its payload at the height of our Siachen Glacier, the highest battlefield on earth. Having seen that India's Prachand beats its rivals hollow on technical performance and parameters, it is important to highlight the fact that Pakistan has no technology of its own. Fighting with foreign weapons has its own peril. While Chinese have 100% home-built helicopters, but technology is pirated and old. On the other hand, Indian technology in Prachand is nearly 60% indigenous, and this share is increasing by the day.
The LCH is furnished with a glass cockpit which accommodates an integrated avionics and display system, which uses an array of multifunction displays in conjunction with onboard target acquisition and designation system. Integral helmet mounted sight, the principal instrument for targeting and triggering the helicopter's armament. The light combat helicopter is protected by an extensive electronic warfare suite which is provided by the Saab group, which includes a radar warning receiver, laser warning receiver and a missile approach warning system. The light combat helicopter is equipped with an integrated data link which enables them to participate in network-centric operations by facilitating the transfer of mission data to other platforms comprising both airborne and ground-based elements. This networking capability is said to facilitate operational cooperation and force multiplication practices. The onboard sensor suite is produced locally by Bharat Electronics Limited. It consists of a CCTV camera, forward-looking infrared imaging sensor, laser range finder, laser designator to facilitate target acquisition, and all this under all weather conditions, that includes the night conditions. These 156 variant of light combat helicopters will come with integrated architecture display system and automatic flight control system, which are locally developed by the HAL along with its private sector partners. Prachand LCH has 20 mm nose mounted gun, which is integrated with the helmet mounted sighting system. Along with this, it has 70 mm rocket system and the French MBDA air-to-air missile system, the Mistral 2. As per the open source, Helena anti-tank guided missile system, which is now named as Dhruvastra, could also be integrated as anti-tank punch over these Prachands.
Another fascinating aspect of Prachand's story is that Prachand LCH is being developed with active participation of our private industry ecosystem. As per the reports, more than 250 vendors are involved in manufacturing of components, assemblies, tools, test equipment and also preparation of technical documentation. An apt example of public-private sector partnership with thrust on indigenization and self-reliance. This high-level public-private partnership has created an upbeat not only in the public and the members of the armed forces but also on the share market.
Another fascinating aspect of Prachand's story is that the Prachand LCH is being developed with active participation of private industry. As per the reports, more than 150 vendors are involved in manufacturing of components, assemblies, tools and test equipment and preparation of technical documentation. An apt example of public and private partnership with a thrust on indigenization and self-reliance. Following the announcement of request for proposal by the government, HAL's share price flew high and surged 6.5% on June 18 as soon as equity market opened. On the 19th of June, HAL's share price increased by Rs 360 to hit a fresh 52-week high of Rs 5,582 Rs 80 Naya Paisa. This increase is attributed to government's significant orders of 156 Prachand to HAL, reflecting investors' confidence in the company's future prospects.
Viewers, here is my take. Attack helicopters are an essential platform in all types of terrain, especially against the tanks and infantry fighting vehicles. Induction of Indian Prachand, American Apache helicopters in Indian Armed Forces is certainly a very well thought out strategy. With employment of Apaches in deserts and the plain sectors and Prachand in the mountainous terrain will prove very deadly combination. These deadly machines can counter any type of threat from the enemy, while Apaches can outsmart any known helicopter on the western front. The Prachand on the other side is going to prove very decisive in a standoff with our adversaries in the high altitude regions of India's Himalayan frontiers. With this, we come to an end of our episode. See you next week with some other story, and thanks for watching. And don't forget to post your comments on social media with #DD with Danveer. Till then, goodbye.